Two separate murders have been blamed on a pair of prestigious science and math students, in addition to being accused of having ties to the same bizarre Zizian cult in the Bay Area. We'll get back to what is Zizian and what is Zizianism. Maximilian Snyder, 22, and Teresa Youngblood, 21, are suspects in two separate murders that occurred over the past week in separate parts of the country. Snyder, a former student of the University of Oxford, has been accused of maliciously stabbing Curtis Lynn, 82, in his eye with a sword in Vallejo, California. The group called the Zizians are highly educated trans-vegan rationalists who hold fringe, esoteric ideological beliefs about transhumanism and animal rights. Their leader, Jack Ziz Lasota, is a biological male who identifies as a woman. Lasota's archived prolific blog writings ramble about the use of violence and radical anarchist tactics to achieve his various ends. Lasota has a warrant for an arrest after skipping out on court hearings on an open criminal case in Pennsylvania. His supporters said he died, but that appears to be based on a fake online obituary to try to escape the law. But meanwhile, according to the charging affidavit, during the afternoon of January 20th, 2025, a United States Border Patrol agent initiated a traffic stop of a Toyota Prius on Interstate 91 in Coventry, Vermont. The car was occupied by Teresa Youngblood and Felix Bachholt, who is a citizen of Germany and whose immigration status was in question. Youngblood and her companion had come to the attention to the law enforcement a few days earlier when a hotel employee in Lindenville, Vermont, expressed concern about them being dressed in tactical clothing and protective gear while being armed. Law enforcement also observed the couple in a Prius earlier on January 20th at a Walmart parking lot in Newport, Vermont. During the traffic stop, Youngblood unprovokingly fired her handgun at the Border Patrol agents while outside the vehicle. Her companion also tried to draw his firearm, but agents fired back. The exchange of gunfire resulted in Border Patrol agent David Mayland sustaining fatal injuries. Youngblood and her companion were also shot. Bachholt was pronounced dead at the scene, and Youngblood was shot in the exchange and taken to the area hospital for medical care. A source with knowledge says Lasota was living with Bachholt and other members of the group in the Airbnb rental in Chapel Hill, North Carolina since 2023. A January 27th motion by federal prosecutors to deny Youngblood's bail strongly suggests links with the other group. Youngblood's associations with other individuals suspected of violent acts also warrants caution, prosecutor Matthew Lasher wrote in a court filing. The individual who purchased the firearms Bachholt possessed on January 2025 is also a person of interest in a dual homicide investigation in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And the person of interest is a bioinformatics researcher, Michelle Jacqueline Zajko, according to the ATF. Zajko is the trans non-binary adult child of Rita and Richard Zajko, an elderly couple found killed in mysterious and unsolved circumstances in Delaware County in early 2023.
2 years before being linked to a Border Patrol agent's death, Michelle Zajko allowed Pennsylvania investigators to examine her handgun and later had her Webster Road home searched in connection with her parents' deaths. Pennsylvania State Police found Rita and Richard Zajko dead in their home from gunshot wounds during a January 2, 2023, welfare check at their residence. Ballistic testing showed an MNP model gun could have produced markings found on a recovered bullet, according to the documents. 3 days later, Pennsylvania investigators traveled to Vermont to interview Zajko, who confirmed owning a Smith & Wesson MNP handgun purchased in February 2022. According to the NBC5 report, a subsequent January 12 search of her Coventry residence recovered 3 cartridges that could match bullets used in the Pennsylvania killings. Investigators also searched an undeveloped Derby property owned by Zajko. She is now sought by federal authorities who believe she purchased weapons used in the January 20, 2025, shooting death of Border Patrol agent David Mayland. According to court records, Zajko bought the guns from a Mount Tabor store in February 2024 before allegedly transferring them to Teresa Youngblood and Felix Bachholt.
Zajko's past archive blog posts show close associations with the Zizian community. Zajko had purchased a plot of land in rural Vermont close to where the deadly shootout occurred. Members of the Ziz group are known to live in communes in box trucks. Zajko has not been charged with any crime. A dispute over a former Bay Area Ziz commune is at the center of the murder case against Maximilian Snyder, the 22-year-old Seattle man who tried to kill Curtis Lind. 82-year-old Curtis Lind narrowly survived an assassination attempt by 3 members of the Ziz group who were squatting on his property in Solano County, California. They impaled him with a sword and repeatedly stabbed him. 2 other alleged members of the cult have a trial in April for the attempted murder of Lind, causing the death of their comrade and other felonies. Both have tried to escape from custody and face other charges, but the trial may be in jeopardy with the sole witness, Lind, murdered allegedly by Snyder. The Solano District Attorney's Office accused Snyder of lying in wait for Lind and then slitting his throat. The victim was a witness to a crime who the defendant intentionally killed for purpose of preventing the testimony in a criminal proceeding. Wow. Stories like this is the reason why this channel is called Simply Your World, because no matter how sadistic, how weird, good times, bad times, war or peace, it doesn't matter. It's just simply the world we live in. Y'all have a good night.